trade across the world. What happened after the discovery of America? After it became known in Europe that there was a continent in the West, people wanted to find out how big it was and what it had to offer. In the beginning, the original inhabitants of the continent greeted the visitors as friends. But soon the Europeans started migrating to the New World in large groups, and the newly discovered areas became colonies of countries such as England, France, and Spain. In North America, many wars were fought between the white settlers and the North American Indians. Further in the south, gruesome conquerors such as Cortés and Pizarro attacked and conquered the Aztecs and the Incas. Valuable goods were brought to Europe, but often the pirates captured the ships. Why did so many Europeans migrate to America? The immigrants had many reasons to migrate. The first people to venture on the long voyage to the new continent in 1620 were called the Pilgrim Fathers, whose religious beliefs were suppressed in England. However, the main reason for the migration was the bitter poverty that was prevalent in many countries of Europe in the 19th century. What caused the Great Indian Wars? There was a large famine in Ireland in 1845 to 1849 due to the potato blight, as a result of which about 1 million Irish left their homes in the hope of a better life in America. When gold was found in California in 1850, many came there driven by greed and a spirit of adventure. The Mayflower, this was the name of the first ship of the Pilgrim Fathers, landed in November 1620 at the coast of the current U.S. state of Massachusetts. When it became clear to the native Indians of North America that the people coming in were not visitors, but had come to stay permanently, they started protesting, and this frequently led to battles. But the individual native Indian races were often in dispute amongst themselves. Only when they combined into the tribes that they were able to win against the heavily armed army of the white settlers. One of their greatest wins was in 1876 in the Battle of Little Big Horn in today's U.S. state of Montana. But finally, the native Indian tribes were defeated and pushed into their reservations. Did you know that the bisons almost died out about 100 years ago? They were shot by the white settlers who wanted to rob the native North Americans of their livelihood. Most of the native Red Indians live even today in reserved areas, which were assigned to them by the government more than 100 years ago. And pirates were not just men. For instance, around 1620, the female pirates Anne Bonny and Mary Read were active in the Caribbean. Who were the pirates? Pirates were a serious menace in olden times. They were armed thieves who attacked and robbed ships at sea by threatening or killing their crew. More than 2,000 years ago, lots of pirate ships used to lurk on the sea trade routes. This problem assumed serious proportions during the period between the 16th and 18th centuries, after the discovery and colonization of America. Pirates would particularly target those ships that took silver, tobacco, and cotton to Europe. During the time when European colonial rulers were at war with each other, some of these rulers are known to have allowed pirates to plunder the trade ships of their enemies. The pirates of today try to gather information regarding those who are today referred to as pirates. In what way are these pirates causing trouble? Which ships do they attack and what do they capture? How do they carry out their crimes and how are they equipped? You can get the latest information on all these queries on the internet. You just have to type the term piracy in a search engine. What are colonies? Colonies are those areas that are occupied by a nation outside its borders. People living in colonies do not usually enjoy political or economic rights. They are usually forced to obey the dictates of the powers that govern the parent country. Government officials in colonies represent the interests of the colonial rulers. From the discovery of America to the First World War, European powers such as Spain, Portugal, France, Great Britain, and the Netherlands have captured, colonized, and often exploited other countries. Even Germany had colonies in Africa and on some of the islands in the Pacific Ocean. The indigenous people in colonies were often forcefully subjugated by the foreign settlers, as in North America or Australia, or were enslaved brutally and sold off in Africa or South America. It was only in the middle of the 20th century that many colonies succeeded in becoming independent. The Jolly Roger was hoisted up just before the attack. Till that point, the ship had looked as if it was a harmless and friendly one. And what did Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro conquer? Both the conquistadoren, meaning conqueror in Spanish, captured and destroyed the advanced civilizations, such as those of the Aztecs and the Incas, that had developed in Middle and South America during the 16th century. In 1519, Cortés and his crew reached Mexico after many battles, which were mostly deceitful. The Spaniards managed to conquer the Aztecs and plunder the gold reserves of the country. Pizarro took over the country of Peru in a similarly brutal way. Driven by his greed for treasure, he captured the capital city of the Inca civilization in 1533 and set it on fire. The Incas, relatively inexperienced in warfare, were defeated very easily. Tenochtitlan, the capital city of the Aztecs, stood in the middle of a lake. Colonizers found it difficult to capture, as only a few dams led from the shore to the city.